India's most wanted terrorists are dropping like flies in Pakistan. Not one, not two, and not even the dirty dozen. It's actually 20 and counting. But the question is, who is killing India's most wanted terrorists in Pakistan? Are these Indian secret agents, as some may want to argue, or as Pakistan's ISI tried to tell the world that these are death squads of India at large? Or is there a more sinister ISI game plan at play? Eliminate the terrorists who are now way past their use by date. They may be in the public eye. They may be on the list of the Financial Action Task Force and other agencies that track Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror. And that is why eliminate some terrorists and have a new crop of terrorists ready to bleed India. Because I, for one, am unwilling to accept that Pakistan has reformed or that Pakistan will no longer use terror as an instrument of state policy. Pakistan is addicted to terror. Pakistan is like a drug addict who cannot change, who cannot reform. You may send Pakistan to a terror rehab once, twice, thrice, but Pakistan cannot reform. It hasn't. Pakistan has been cut into two in 1971, and yet Pakistan did not reform. In fact, terrorism only increased. And some who argue that terrorism actually started after 1971 or in the 1980s and 90s, that's not true. From the day Pakistan was born in 1947, terror was used as an instrument of state policy by Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan. And you may ask how and why. Terrorists, invaders, tribals, call them whatever name you may want to, the tribal raiders who attacked India on the 22nd of October in 1947. It's exactly the same policy that Pakistan has used. Send in irregulars backed by the Pakistan army to bleed India. And those irregulars in 1947 were again armed and launched by Pakistan army to take over Kashmir by force, and they managed to take over a major part of Jammu and Kashmir before the Indian army actually post the signing of Instrument of Accession. 27th of October 1947, Indian Air Force planes landed in Srinagar and the Indian army started pushing these tribal raiders back, and then it led to a war where, of course, the Union Home Minister on the floor of the House in Parliament said that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, then Prime Minister of India, did not make a mistake but a blunder of one, taking the Kashmir issue to the United Nations, and two, agreeing to a ceasefire when India was actually pushing Pakistan back.
नेहरू के समय में जो ब्लंडर हुआ था, इसके कारण कश्मीर को भुगतना पड़ा। जब हमारी सेना जीत रही थी, पंजाब का एरिया आते ही सीज फायर कर दिया गया और पाक ऑक्यूपाई कश्मीर का जन्म हुआ। अगर सीज फायर 3 दिन लेट होता तो पाक ऑक्यूपाई कश्मीर आज भारत का हिस्सा।
But that's another story. Let's talk about terrorists who are being killed now. And I'll keep getting back to history of terrorism from Pakistan, the current crop of terrorists who are being eliminated, and the future threat that India faces. Adnan Ahmad alias Hanzala. Now, Hanzala was a senior terror commander of Lashkar-e-Taiba. Lashkar-e-Taiba is a UN-designated banned terrorist organization headed by a UN-designated terrorist called Hafiz Mohammed Saeed, mastermind of 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, something that I've covered on ground. Unfortunately, Pakistan refuses to punish Hafiz Mohammed Saeed for 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. When Pakistan went on that Financial Action Task Force grey list, Hafiz Mohammed Saeed was allegedly punished and sent to jail. But was he sent to jail? He is under house arrest at home. He's comfortable at home. Hanzala was one of his key terror lieutenants. ISI knew there was a plot to eliminate him. He was one of the main recruiters, motivators, and somebody who launched terrorists into India. So Hanzala was in Rawalpindi. He was shunted to an ISI safe house in Karachi. Pakistan considered that safe house in Karachi, and they gave him armed security. They thought he'd be safe. They considered that area safe. So outside a safe house with armed security around him, on the 2nd of December, 4 bullets were pumped into him. Who did it? Well, it's Namaloom Afraad. Namaloom Afraad in Pakistan is a word that's usually used for ISI-backed forces that may eliminate those who are a threat to Pakistan Army and ISI. And this man clearly is not. He's an asset, or at least was. So was he past his sell-by date? He was wanted in India for an attack on a CRPF convoy in Udhampur, on the Jammu-Udhampur National Highway. This was in 2016. He was also wanted for an attack on a BSF convoy in Jammu in 2015. So here is a wanted terrorist, a listed terrorist. He's suddenly been eliminated. Should we be celebrating? Well, any terrorist dead is good news. The only good terrorist is a dead terrorist. So that is one of that list. Maulana Rahimullah Tariq of Jaish-e-Mohammed. So you have several terrorist organizations in Pakistan. Lashkar-e-Taiba, banned. Jaish-e-Mohammed, again a UN designated banned terrorist organization. Maulana Rahimullah Tariq was killed in Karachi again. So these are 2 terrorists who've been wiped out in Karachi. This was on the 13th of November, and this Rahimullah Tariq was considered extremely close to that Maulana of terror called Masood Azhar. Now Masood Azhar is wanted in India. Remember, so the 3 terrorists who were released after IC-814 was hijacked. He was one of those terrorists who was released, and he founded that terrorist organization called Jaish-e-Mohammed. They carried out an attack on the Indian Parliament. They've carried out a series of terror attacks in India, including Pathankot and Pulwama. Incidentally, Jaish-e-Mohammed is a terrorist organization that made an attempt on the life of Pervez Musharraf, who was then Army Chief, President, military dictator of Pakistan. India got to know. India was tracking these terrorists. India got to know. India, instead of letting that plan be taken to its logical conclusion, because Musharraf was the terrorist army chief, whatever way you may want to look at that man, who launched Pakistan Army into Kargil and who actually is alleged to have signed off on a number of terror attacks that have taken place on India, even though he always promised that there would be no terror attacks, no Pakistani soil would be used for terror attacks in India, and yet it was. Anyways, Masood Azhar wanted to kill Pervez Musharraf. India got to know. According to Pervez Musharraf, India actually alerted Pakistan that Pervez Musharraf would be killed. And there was an attack on Pervez Musharraf, on his convoy. He survived. Was there any gratitude? Clearly not. Pakistanis don't believe in gratitude. India has helped them so many times. They don't believe. I mean, that's one word that's not in the dictionary of Pakistan. And we as Indians need to realize that. The fact of the matter remains, Masood Azhar was not tried even though he attempted to kill a Pakistan Army chief, president and military dictator of Pakistan. Why? Because that all-powerful ISI, or that military jihad complex told Pervez Musharraf he's a strategic asset to be used against India. Fine, he made a mistake, he tried to kill you, you've survived, spare him. That's Pakistan for you. Akram Khan of Lashkar-e-Taiba, he's actually the recruitment center head. But what's very crucial about this Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorist being killed on the 9th of November was that he was killed in an area which is by and large considered very safe. Bajaur in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. So far away from India. Well, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa incidentally is that same province where Indian Air Force fighter jets went and bombed Balakot. So that message Pakistan has got, that no place in Pakistan is safe for terrorists. Again, proven by this incident of Akram Khan being killed in Bajaur. This was on the 9th of November in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Khwaja Shahid, also known as Mia Mujahid, he was not just killed, he was actually beheaded. Now that's signaling. When a terrorist is beheaded, that's a major signal that's being sent out. This, of course, happened in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir on the 5th of November. But one terrorist I want to talk about is Shahid Latif. Shahid Latif, again, listed terrorist, mastermind of that attack that took place on the Indian Air Force base in Pathankot. He was offering namaz inside a mosque in Sialkot. This was on the 11th of October when he was neutralized. Important terrorist being eliminated. But was he eliminated because he was inimical to India, or was he eliminated because he was dangerous for Pakistan? Because FATF grey list looms large, that sword of the FATF grey list looms large over Pakistan at every point. Of course, they were on that list twice, they've come out of that list twice, but can they get there on the third time? Well, government of India is very clear. Unless Pakistan punishes terrorists for 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks and Pathankot and Pulwama, India would be keeping a hawk eye, as would India's partners. Syed Noor, again, he was killed in KPK in Bana. This was in March 2023, a recruiter. Syed Khalid Raza, an Al-Badr commander, he was killed in Karachi in February 2023. Bashir Ahmed Peer was killed in Rawalpindi. Again, a terror launchpad commander who was killed on point blank range. He was killed at point blank range. So, terrorists, Rawalpindi is the GHQ. General headquarters is in Rawalpindi. Not even GHQ, Rawalpindi or areas around that are safe for terrorists. Zuhur Mistry. Now, some of you may want to Google that name. Zuhur Mistry was one of the IC-814 hijack accused, killed in Karachi. This happened in 2022. So there is a list and terrorists are being eliminated. And the list is much longer. I mean, we've talked about 10 odd names. There are 10 odd names. I have those dossiers here. We will talk about it in the days to come. But should India be celebrating? Well, a dead terrorist is a good terrorist. Well, he's dead. He doesn't pose a threat. But who are his successors? Because terror is like amoeba. They'll keep multiplying, they'll keep splitting, they'll keep multiplying. There'll be more terrorists who will be out to damage India. It's that fountainhead of terror that needs to be neutralized and brought to justice. And India's made that effort. India's made that effort with that professor of terror called Hafiz Saeed, with that Maulana of terror called Masood Azhar, with Dawood Ibrahim living in Clifton, Karachi. So efforts have been made by India repeatedly. There's also, of course, Syed Salahuddin of Hizbul Mujahideen and assorted terrorists. Is Pakistan doing this to curry favors with India? Very unlikely. Pakistan may want to use this as a pretext to curry favors with India and get get any dole from India. Pakistan is always willing to beg for help, whether it's China or it's the United Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia or the United States. There was a very popular link on social media which said that Pakistan has this Abba Huzur syndrome, that Pakistan always needs an Abba Huzur to survive. They need some godfather, and they're willing to make anybody their daddy. They're happy with China as their daddy. They're happy with Saudi Arabia as their daddy. They're very happy with America as their daddy. But they will not stand on their own on their own feet to fight terror. That, unfortunately, is the biggest problem for Pakistan and for this region, because this region is unable to come together as a cohesive unit and grow and prosper because of Pakistan state-sponsored radical Islamist terror. 20 terrorists and counting have been neutralized so far. The big question remains, will Hafiz Saeed, will Masood Azhar, and will Dawood Ibrahim Kaskar be on that list? And we'll be tracking that story very closely.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today Newsmo.